get on to the catching up. Jacob, NATO is fracturing. Poland announces it will no longer arm Ukraine. The dam is breaking. The unified Western support of Ukraine is failing. Other countries are bailing out soon. They haven't announced it yet, but the corrupt Moldemor Zelensky goes to the UN, asks for more money, speaks about climate change more than anything else, goes to the Senate, goes to Congress, I should say, asks for more money. Biden promises what he has already promised. Like, he didn't get him a lot more money than this, but he goes and meets with J.P. Morgan to privatize his support for the war. It's a desperation right now. It's in free fall. His support has become very weak. Jacob, fill us in, not on the Russian. We'll talk about Russia in a minute, but just simply on the Ukraine aspect of it, with Voldemort coming in and asking for more money.
First of all, Ukraine was a corrupt country. You can say that Zelensky was the elected leader of that country, as opposed to a illegitimately elected Putin, although Putin has a high approval rate even among his people now. One may make that argument. But let's remember, Ukraine was a corrupt country, easily as corrupt as Russia. Easily as corrupt as Russia. That's why the Bidens had their fingers in it. That's why Biden's son was in it. It was a corrupt country. It was a place to do corrupt business. So Biden has certainly a family business interest in perpetuating it, but that's only scratching the surface. I don't agree with what Putin did. I think he's an aggressor. I always thought he was a neo-Stalinist. I don't believe there's any legitimacy to his claims on the areas of Ukraine that he wants to annex or has annexed to Russia, including Crimea. I don't like him. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with any of that. But let's not pretend that Zelensky is a nice man or an honest man, or that the government of Ukraine is somehow at the vanguard of Western democracy and righteousness. It's just not like that. It's a corrupt government. Remember, most NATO countries did not want Ukraine in NATO because of its corruption. Yeah. Many EU countries did not want Ukraine in the EU because of its corruption. Now, of course, that spells opportunity for Biden and his son. That's different.
Sure.
But the countries of Europe know exactly how corrupt Ukraine is. There is no good guy in this conflict. It's very much like the Balkans. There's only bad and worse. You had the Serbians who were bad, you had the Bosnians who were bad, and you had the Kosovo Muslims who were worse. That is all you've got as a lesser of evils. Now, I feel very sorry for the Ukrainian people who are being decimated. I actually do. And I don't approve of what Putin is doing. But neither, however, do I see Mr. Zelensky as some righteous figure who Nancy Pelosi has called Churchillian. Like the church. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
He's actually has a citizen journalist sitting in a Ukraine prison. He won't let him go, but we keep sending money and begging for billions, I guess more to protect Ukrainian freedom. He's been against religious, the religious figures there, imprisoning them if they don't agree with them. I understand the lesser of two evil aspect of it, but I think Ukraine will be part of maybe the worst part of it for me. David Lister, what do you think?
Well, for me, when I see Ukraine, who some of his army troops carry Black Sun flags and they're basically Nazis. We remember Ukraine was very involved in the sex trade of women and drugs, and every wicked thing is there. So they're not a good country that we want to rescue, but our country is so far deep in this thing now, it's almost looks like it's sparking a hot war instead of a cold war. Right. The Cold War is certainly putting a lot of money in people's pockets.
Yes.
Personally, politicians, things like that, and others. So I have a choice between bad and bad,
Worse and worse. Now, what do you think of? We'll go back to Jacob. Jacob, the NATO plans, which we heard the head of NATO today, and he's talking about this is a NATO thing. Now, remember, first they said it's not a NATO thing; it's a Ukraine-Russia thing. Now he says, like many politicians, of course, they double down on their hypocrisy. He says, no, it is a NATO thing, and he's actually looking for 3.5 million troops to. In the event of a direct war with Russia. Now, I don't know where they're going to get 3.5 million. Maybe some Finnish kids and some Swedish kids are going to join that with the newest addition to the NATO. But I'd see NATO being a very formidable aggressor, just as bad as Russia.